Well, after years and years and years of rumors, speculation, reports, it looks like the Switch Pro, or what we're calling right now the Switch Pro, is gonna happen this year, or at least it's gonna be produced this year, according to Bloomberg. And hi everyone, I'm Joey. I'm joined by Andre. We're gonna talk about these Switch Pro rumors going around because, according to Bloomberg, Nintendo's planning a Switch model with a bigger Samsung OLED display coming this year. Maybe the same time as the Switch Lite, which Bloomberg literally predicted in 2017 that a Switch Mini is going to come out in 2019, which happened, which is why I trust these rumors more. What do you think, Andre?
Yeah, I mean, I believe this. Like, even if it doesn't come out this year, it's just a matter of time at this point, and I think this year is extremely likely. I predicted it in our 2021 predictions, which, granted, I'm sure I did back in 2020 as well. It's actually surprising it's taken this long. But I think the interesting wrinkle here is I think this is the first time we've had rumors of a bigger screen. And as you just touched on, Bloomberg is credible. So yeah, I fully buy this. I think this is coming. In the forum they're describing being a Switch with a 7-inch screen, 4K capabilities when connected to the TV, and a screen that is still 720p. Dude, that sounds like such a Nintendo move. Here's a bigger screen, but it's still running at 720p.
Yeah, and the way I was thinking was I do kind of think it makes sense to still have the resolution be 720p because when it comes to display, it's mostly about the quality of the display itself more so than the general pixel count. And if this is going to be maybe more powerful, which we still don't know yet, we know that the dock is going to have 4K capabilities. I don't think that means this new Switch is going to necessarily be more powerful, but since I bring up the 4K aspect of it, that's kind of another thing I wanted to touch on. When I first heard this, the first thing I thought of was I don't think this necessarily means that Switch games are going to run at 4K. The first thing I thought of was video. It's probably going to have 4K video in the case of Disney Plus. I don't know if Hulu supports 4K. Maybe we'll finally get Netflix. It's been 4 years. We still don't have Netflix on the Switch. Yeah, where is Netflix? But it's going to be interesting to find out what they do with those 4K capabilities. I know even PS4 and maybe even Xbox One, when they came out, they still did 4K video, but they didn't do 4K games, and that's kind of what I see here.
Yeah, I think you're kind of onto something there, where I don't think these games are natively going to be running at 4K. However, I also don't think Nintendo would make a 4K model of the Switch only for video purposes. So I think what we're actually going to see here is actually something that's been also rumored elsewhere, such as on Resetera, where insiders have been suggesting that it may actually use a new NVIDIA technology called DLSS, I believe, which is short for an AI-assisted upscaler. So that's what I think they would do here. I think they would continue to run the games at their native resolution, being, I guess, 1080p now, or whatever it is, and then that would be upscaled to 4K, which apparently has pretty impressive results. So I think that might be how Nintendo goes about it here. Unfortunately, if you're playing in handheld mode, you're not going to get any of those benefits because you're, again, still dealing with a 720p screen. But I'm guessing in this case, Nintendo is, one, putting a priority on battery life without adding additional cost by having to add even more battery to power what would be a fairly pricey, I imagine, and powerful 4K screen.
Yeah, I heard those rumors too, because DLSS, you look that stuff up and you look it up on Digital Foundry where they really get really in depth into DLSS 2.0, and it is really impressive technology. It's only right now in NVIDIA's line of RTX cards, but it makes a 720p display look almost flawless 4K, using AI, and it's really cool to see, and I would love to see that implemented in this next Switch. Don't know if it is. It sounds like that would be very expensive, extremely expensive technology to put in a Switch, but I've been wrong before, so hopefully that'd be cool. But what is not going to be costly is the OLED display, using rigid OLED as the costs. I'm looking at this chart on Bloomberg. The cost of rigid OLED has gone down a huge amount just recently too, so that'll definitely help with the battery life on the system and make the games even at 720p look way better. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. But I think the literal big part of this new update is the screen size,
Yeah.
coming from 6.2 inches from the standard Switch to a 7-inch panel, which is a significant increase in size, which is making us think this is more of like a Switch XL than a Switch Pro, or maybe even a new Nintendo Switch XL, or
Right.
whatever they're gonna call it. And I saw the mock-up you posted on Twitter, and I hope that's maybe what we're gonna get, because I just thought, oh, if we have to get new Joy-Cons
God.
to put on this tablet, no thank you.
Yeah, like when I was thinking, like, I did some quick math, and it sounds like if my math is correct, a 7-inch screen should offer around a 25% increase in total real estate area. So I mocked that up real quick on the existing Switch, and I really liked how that turned out, because the thing I don't want is something that's physically bigger than the current Switch. Like, the current Switch is a pretty good size, I think, but you get any bigger than that, it's going to become even more of a pain to carry around with you than it already is, which isn't much of one, to be fair. But it's kind of like riding that line right now, right? And one of the complaints about the existing Switch is it has a pretty big bezel. And so I think there is room for them to like fit a larger display in there while maintaining the existing form factor. And as you're kind of touching on, mandating new Joy-Cons to work with this larger screen would be a pain in the butt. Especially because they have so many accessories now that depend on the current Joy-Con size, including Labo, which, to be fair, probably doesn't matter as much these days. But then you have Ring Fit Adventure, which needs those very specific sized Joy-Cons. And I don't think it'd be fair to ask your audience who are picking up a new Switch or a Switch XL to go buy, either smaller Joy-Cons, or they'd have to make a second version of Ring Fit with the larger, with the accessories that can accommodate a larger Joy-Con set. So yeah, I'm thinking they're going to try and maintain, at the very least, the current Joy-Con size, and I'm hoping even the form factor largely similar to what we have now. But I think it looks pretty slick.
Yeah, and it makes me think if they're gonna release a model that doesn't come with any Joy-Cons you could use, so you can just use your original ones on it. Probably not, but that's something we'll just have to see. And I know we'd have to get a new dock with this thing if it's gonna export at
Right.
4K. So there's still a lot we don't know about this system, and it's the plan is for this to go into production in June, or rather July, because it says here the displays are slated for shipment to assemblers around July. So chances are it'll probably be a new holiday release. And it would make sense to come out during the holidays, especially now that we have two brand new game consoles on the market.
Yep.
The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Or if you want to be technical, we have 4, or is it 5? No, we have 4 consoles now, because we have the PS5 digital, the Xbox Series S, and then
Right.
the Series X and the PS5. So, and the article also states this is to help propel the Switch to compete better against the Xbox and the PS5.
Oh. Yeah, it's kind of genius in a way, like, especially if you're appealing to the more, the more casual consumers. If you can get 4K on the Switch box, a lot of people aren't going to know or even care about what other differences there may be. So the Switch is able to output at a resolution that the TVs people are using for their PS5 and Xbox. I think that's going to be one, big for Nintendo, and really exciting to a lot of people as well, where the Switch won't be viewed as an inferior system, and in fact might be viewed as a superior one. It's like, what, this little tiny thing can do 4K by itself? All right, sign me up. And it makes so much sense to go into this holiday season possibly with a system that can go, again, toe to toe marketing wise with the next generation systems. And we've seen before, like, Nintendo's games look like, I don't know what kind of magic Nintendo's working, but like, even on existing hardware, their games look great. And we've seen how, like, with how you can upscale Nintendo's even older games, like, even take like Mario Sunshine in Super Mario 3D All-Stars. That game looks really good at a higher resolution, and that game's 20 years old. So I'm sure with possibly the AI-assisted upscaling technology, these games on Switch are going to look incredible on a 4K display.
Mm-hmm. It makes me want to play Breath of the Wild in 4K.
Yes.
And I know all you people are going to say emulators, just do an emulator, and I've seen how it looks. It looks great. But I would rather play that on the Switch still. Mm-hmm. And that also makes me think that when we've been talking about Switch Pro, we've been talking about how maybe this... we've also been debating on whether or not this would support, like, its own exclusive games, kind of like what the new Nintendo 3DS did with games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, Binding of Isaac, other games as well, maybe even Fire Emblem Warriors, although I think that was playable on the original 3DS as well, but it played way worse. Actually, no, not Fire Emblem. Hyrule Warriors, it ran way better on the new 3DS as opposed to the old one. But it sounds to me from this article that this new Nintendo Switch is not going to have any exclusives whatsoever, which I'm okay with because it's kind of unfairly dividing the market a bit if you just have an incremental, a small little incremental upgrade and not a full-blown upgrade, and it gets its own exclusive games, which I guess was kind of a problem with the new 3DS. I didn't hear that many people complain about it then.
It didn't have many exclusives. Yeah.
It didn't, exactly. So that's something to consider, and I wonder how third parties would react to this, because it also says this could intensify a long-standing complaint of developers who have struggled with the difference in resolution between handheld and TV modes and now face a bigger gap between the two. And I remember this also being an issue with developers have had with developing games for both PS4 and PS4 Pro and Xbox One and Xbox One X. And I wonder if it makes me wonder if some third-party developers, I'm sure Nintendo first-party games will take good advantage of it, but it does make me wonder if third-party developers would even bother with releasing like two different versions of their own games for the Switch. It makes me curious.
Well, right, so that's assuming that this new Switch is sufficiently more powerful than the previous Switch to warrant another version of the game, and I'm not quite seeing that. I really do think that at this point we're looking at a Switch similar in power to the current one, minus the ability to upscale its visuals to 4K. And I think we'll probably see a proper Switch successor in 2 years at the soonest, maybe even longer, 3 to 4 from now.
Yeah, because they're not going to want to make those people who just bought a new Switch mad, but I also don't think they will wait that much. Well, I think 2 or 3 is actually a good estimate of when we would probably see a full-blown Switch successor after this unit comes out. And I totally buy these rumors. It's from Bloomberg, and which also reminds me that, yeah, Bloomberg did pretty much say there's going to be a Switch Mini in 2019, and they said this in 2017.
Yep, they called it.
Yeah, they called it there, so I trust them.
I do too. Real quick, do you think the timing makes sense? Because one of the things people say is, well, the Switch is doing super well as it is. Does it make sense for Nintendo to release another version of it at this point in time?
That's a really good question. I think the answer for me is yes and no. No, in the sense that the Switch is just selling like gangbusters. It's been number one on the console charts for a very long time.
Right.
But then you have the case of the not even just the specifications of the unit are kind of just old, but I feel like the material also just wears down like more than any other Nintendo console in the past. Like I'm nervous for my little vents on the top of the Switch because they're cracking, and
yep, mine did.
Yeah, exactly. That may not be a problem for people who just bought a new Switch, but I feel like this unit makes sense for people who've owned a Switch since day one or for a very long time, and they're looking to upgrade to maybe just replace old parts or just get a better experience on a 4K TV. I know I want a Switch, a new Switch, because I just want to have newer shiny things, pretty much, and a bigger screen.
Yeah, so I guess what are you most excited for about this? Is there one particular thing? Is it the bigger screen? Is it the 4K? Like, what gets you excited about this?
It's mostly the bigger screen for me right now. I'm also hoping like we see it has more than just the bigger screen and the 4K display. Like I want it to surprise me with a feature like I didn't even know I wanted on a new Switch, pretty much. Like with the new 3DS, for one, I liked it more because I was still playing on a day one 3DS from like 2011.
Yeah, it was a big upgrade.
It was a huge upgrade, so I kind of just wanted a newer, fancier, shiny thing with a bigger screen. So yeah, it's mostly the bigger screen for me for now.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, so I'm not a huge handheld gamer on the Switch. I honestly barely ever use it, except when I have to, like in Mario Maker 2 to design stages with the touch interface. So if I had to say, going off handheld gaming, the OLED screen is actually what excites me the most. I really like OLED technology. Now, the article, I was a little confused by it, but it sounds like it may not be like top-of-the-line OLED displays, which being Nintendo kind of makes sense, but I'm still hoping that will offer a better visual experience than we have currently in handheld form. But I have to say, overall, I'd be most excited for the 4K display. Being able to, like, sit up close to the Switch, like, have that thing just, or to the TV rather, and have those, like, Bowser, Fury Bowser just wash over me in 4K glory. That's what I want.
Absolutely.
But the thing I really want the most, actually, to your kind of point, Joey, the thing you want to be surprised by, I want to be surprised by Joy-Cons that work. Please, no. They don't need to redesign the shape of them. Just have it so they don't break down. My sister just got a Switch or my niece got a Switch for Christmas, which the whole family uses. A little over 2 months ago. Their Joy-Cons are already drifting. They're already drifting. And my sister called me up and she's like, "Hey, do you know, like, is there something wrong with my Switch?" I'm like, "There's something wrong with everyone's Switch," and that's the fact that Joy-Cons just don't work. They just break nearly instantly. It really is like the red ring of death, but for Nintendo, and for better or worse, it doesn't kill your system, which almost would be preferable, so you had to send in to get it fixed, rather than just enduring this annoying controller quirk.
It really is annoying.
It's so
annoying. My first pair of Joy-Cons drifted like 10 months or so after I got them. My second pair, which I got, I think like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. When was 2018? I forgot when that was. But now they're just starting to drift, and it's just kind of like,
yep.
Just give me those Skyward Sword Joy-Cons right now.
There
like,
you go.
This is your apology.
And enjoy them for the brief 3-week window, hopefully, in which they don't drift at all.
Seriously. But yeah, I think that's about all we can cover so far on this new Nintendo Switch model. But I do want to leave it with one final question. What is this going to be called, Andre? I don't think it's going to be called Switch Pro. It's going to be called something else.
Yeah, it won't be a Switch Pro. It could possibly, I mean, they've used the XL moniker before a couple of times, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just stick with that again, especially if if the selling point is it being bigger. Although the 4K kind of throws things off a little bit.
It does.
That really does complicate things. I don't know.
I do think it's going to be Nintendo Switch XL. Like, yeah. I don't think they have to put 4K in the name. I just think they have to put it on the box. Because when the PS4 Pro came out, it was just called the Pro. You couldn't imply 4K from that title alone, but you saw it in those big yellow and black letters on the box. Same with Xbox One X. They didn't really call it Xbox One 4K. They just called it Xbox One X. So I do think maybe the X is the key here. Just the X part of it. Just Nintendo Switch X.
I've heard people throw out the idea Super Switch could be another.
Yes.
That's not happening.
That'd be so cool. But I do think Nintendo Switch, the name of Nintendo Switch Lite, sort of hinted at them aiming more towards like a DS naming scheme.
Right, exactly.
Because we have the Nintendo DS Lite. So
yep.
That's what I think. Nintendo Switch I, that would be awful. I don't think that name
I mean,
would work.
they could do something like that. Not I agree, but Apple just throws like seemingly random letters at the end of some of their product names. We know Nintendo loves to copy Apple at times, so it could be true. Switch S,
Nintendo Switch R. Did they have an iPhone R at some point? That
maybe
was
they did. Yeah, maybe I think I don't know.
But thank you all so much for watching this discussion here on GameXplain. Let us know what your thoughts on this new Nintendo Switch are in the comment section down below. Do you plan on getting one so far, or do you need to see more? Let us know, and hey, check out the videos on the right for more topics that you might be interested in. Until next time, everyone, bye.